Hello everybody, welcome to Daily Dose of Insanity. My name is Thomas, and here today we're going to be talking about the ball python enclosure. Today we will be going over what a ball python should have in its enclosure, what are the minimum requirements, and what else should you include, what should you buy, and I will explain all that today. Alright guys, so what we have here, this is a 20-gallon tank. Okay, now ideally for a full-grown ball python you're going to want about a 40-gallon tank, which is about double the size of this. And if you have juvenile, you could probably get away with about a 10-gallon, but right in the middle is going to be the 20-gallon right here. You definitely want a slide-in top, just so the snake will not get out. If you don't have a slide-in top, they're able to push up the lid and then get out that way. We've learned that the hard way. So definitely get a slide-in top. One thing we like to do is we'll take fabric and tape it onto the sides. We'll tape it onto three sides, the back and then both sides right here, just to make the ball python feel more comfortable. Next we have the substrate. So what we have here is just some regular aspen shavings. We use these for all of our ball pythons. We've grown to like it. For ball pythons you can use a lot of different substrates, but we just like aspen. It looks good, it's pretty easy to clean, and it holds humidity pretty well. So that's what we go with. You can go with other substrates like coconut fiber, that stuff is pretty good too. But yeah, what we use is aspen shavings. As far as hides go, you want to have at least 2 hides, one on the warm side of the enclosure, one on the cold side. Right here, this is the one we're going to have on the warm side here. And then this is just a ledge, kind of acts as a hide, it's not completely surrounded. I have that though because this water bowl is so big, I can't actually fit another hide right here. So this is what we have for now. This actually isn't being put together for a snake. I just have this as a kind of a model. But yeah, as long as you have 2 hides, hot side, cold side, and you can add more if you like. But this is just a very basic setup. For a water bowl, we like to give them big water bowls because if they want to soak in it, they can. They usually won't as long as humidity is high enough. But we have that in there, plus because it also helps the humidity. If you have a big water bowl, that puts more water into the air and makes it more humid, so it's easier to keep that humidity up. So that's why we like to have a big water bowl in there. Ball pythons, like we said in our ball python video, they should be at about 55 to 60% humidity, and that is so that they can shed properly. Ball pythons are supposed to shed in one piece. So if they're not shedding one piece and it's still staying stuck on them, then you need to raise the humidity or soak them more often, or both, probably both. Now as far as heat goes, what a lot of people do is they'll get a heat pad and put it on the bottom. Now in the wild, that's true. Since ball pythons usually live underground in dirt mounds and whatnot, they're used to getting their heat from the bottom. While that is true, it's also very easy for them to get burnt while having heat pads on the bottom. Because snakes can stay in one place for a long time, sitting on a heat pad for a long time can burn them, and we have had ball pythons come in with lots of burns along their belly because of that. So what we do is we will either usually we will take a heating pad and put it on the side here. So that way there's still heat in the enclosure, it's just not on the bottom where they can get burnt. Also, we usually like to have a light, heat UVB light. Doesn't need to be UVB, but it can be, just because we like to give them the sense of day and night. But really, as long as the enclosure is up to the correct temperature, then you should be perfectly fine. Again, like we said in our Everything You Know About Ball Python video, they don't need the underbelly heat like some reptiles do. Like leopard geckos, they need underbelly heat for them to be able to digest their food. Ball pythons, they do need to be at a certain temperature to digest their food. It doesn't have to be necessarily under their belly for that to happen. So in order to get the enclosure up to the right temperature, you can either have a light or a heating pad, or you can have both. If you have both of those on there and the temperature is still not where you want it to be, what you can do is you can take some aluminum foil and put it across the top. After you put the lid on, you can put it across the top and then cut out a hole for the light if you have a light, and that way it'll help keep the heat in a little bit, and that will also help with humidity. If you're having problems with humidity, if you're having trouble keeping it up to 60, then that will also help keep keep the water in. Ways to keep humidity up for these guys. You can hook up a mister. As long as you monitor it, you want to get a hydrometer to make sure it's at 60% or between 55 and 60% all the time. Also, you can just go around and mist it by hand once or twice a day, depending on how much you need. Or you can get a mister. Either way works, as long as they're at 60% humidity and they'll be able to shed fully, then that will be good for them. As far as decorations go, I only have one in here right now, just a little cactus, but you can put tons of decorations in there. It's really up to you. Ball pythons can actually thrive on minimum decor, if you want to call it. But I personally think it really does help them feel at home if they have, you know, branches and little cactuses and stuff like that. I think it really helps them. It makes them feel more cozy. And there you guys have it. This is a very generalized ball python enclosure. Now, like I said, this is a very basic form of enclosure. Of course, you can add lots more. You can get different size hides, different size enclosures, depending on what snake you have. This is really the middle size tank you want to have if you have a ball python that's not fully grown. If you do have a fully grown python, you want the tank to be at least 40 gallons. And for younger snakes, you can put them in a 10-gallon, and this is just the bridge between those two. And of course, you can get different beddings. You can put lots of other decor in there. But really, as long as they have two hides, the right temperature and the right humidity, then they will be perfectly fine and thriving. Alright, and that will be it for today, guys. Let us know in the comments if you guys have any questions. Feel free to hit that like button, subscribe, and we will see you guys next time.